Ready, Glenn?
Yeah, go ahead.
I call this meeting of the Lancaster County Broadband Authority open. Present are Cassie Thompson, Kevin Bean, and participating remotely is Michelle Craddock, who is on her way behind all the traffic that is on Route 3. So she will be here to participate shortly. Since we would open, the next thing would be public comment. And since there are no members of the public present, I ask Glenn, is there anybody remotely who would like to comment, make a public comment?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so the public comment period is now closed. Okay, we can start, well, we'll wait till Michelle gets here to talk about the agenda, so when we vote, she'll be here, when we vote to approve the agenda or not the agenda, I'm sorry, the minutes. So why don't we start with Nicholas, with an update with APB?
Okay. Well, HPB is 1.4 band is still we took the contract. I think it was signed by the county, right? The fiscal agreement.
Yes. I don't know where it is.
So that's the only thing. That's the only update we have. But there's there's no holdbacks on the project.
Okay.
Everything's on schedule. I know they are doing work with Dominion for Make Ready. So I know that's going on. So that project seems to be moving along. 1.4 there. Breeze Line, we have some more updates. We are there. I should say we, but it's indirectly us. Breeze Line is experiencing some procurement delays with materials. So far, it hasn't affected the overall project schedule. There's no missed milestones. That's mainly due because Lancaster, we've been ahead of the project schedule by quite a bit. But we do have 3 areas, let's see, Dawson Avenue, Teal Drive, and Beach Cove Road, which are complete. Ops has tested them, and they are ready to go over for new installation of services. So it's going over to marketing. Marketing will reach out to the people who are affected by those in those areas, and we'll start seeing some new services, broadband availability to these people in those 3 areas that haven't had broadband, which is good news. And that's pretty far, much ahead of schedule. There's 4 additional areas that should be complete by next week. That ops will be done, and then the following week will be turned over to marketing and sales to start providing new services to those areas. So we are, like I said, we are making a lot of headway, much sooner than we originally anticipated with the original plan, the project plan that was laid out. Some of the 2 things that are holding up construction, there's really hasn't been much construction activity done in the last 3 weeks, and that's due to procurement of pedestals. They're the box that go over the conduit that hold the fiber and equipment inside, and make ready pole attachment licenses from Dominion, which are being delayed. They have, I think there's 2 or 3 areas where Breeze Line has decided to go underground to bypass some of the poles, so they can get the cable in the ground sooner.
Have they
That's
identified?
usually a lot more.
I'm
What's
sorry,
that?
Nicholas. Have they identified those areas where they think they're going to go underground?
They did already in a couple spots, and there's also there's also 1 or 2 areas where Dominion denied pole attachment licenses because there's a program to I think it's called the SUP program. It's there's certain areas to put utilities underground. So what they're trying not to do is put anything new on the poles. So Breeze Line has re-engineered that, and they are going underground in those areas.
So the gentleman that was here at the last meeting that was inquiring why cable ran all the way to one pole stopped, and then they went, could that be one of those affected areas?
No, that's the one where Cox Farm, where Batty has them stopping here. The rest of it went through.
But he said they came across the rest of the way and started running it again. Just like
That would
go ahead.
That's I think it's due to the valley funding. That's where the valley, the funding area stopped, I believe.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Stopped and jumped 200 yards and started up again?
No, they haven't started up.
No, he said for a fact, they came out, put networking cable up in their area, then didn't connect it to anything, went like 200 yards down the road, and picks back up and starts running again.
Oh,
That could be it then, too, Kevin. I can dig into that and find out a little more.
I'll go and look at those.
But they are trying to they have been doing splicing. So splicing activity it's doubled since last week. It's 18% complete. So they are continuing to do splicing, but right now with the holdup of the pedestals and the aerial pole attachment licenses, it's somewhat at a standstill. And that's not just affecting us, it's, nationwide.
Well, just so you know, there's a lot of visual stuff the whole community's seeing them put fiber in.
Yeah.
So
I received a call, an email last week from a gentleman who was, very frustrated. The fact that he could see that, the fiber was in and it wasn't being turned on. I followed up with Breeze Line. Breeze Line, to their credit, I give them credit. I reached out to Bernie, my contact, I had a weekly call with. The next day, someone from Breeze Line contacted the gentleman, explained to him. I followed up the phone call, and he understood everything. He said, nice that, it was what I said confirmed what Breeze Line had said, and he understood it, but it doesn't, like, to your point, you see stuff that being done out in the field, and you think it's going to be coming now. It's kind of a hold up. It's a little frustrating, or a lot frustrating, I should say. Like I said, the good news is that we're kind of ahead. We're not kind of ahead of schedule. We are ahead of schedule from where we were supposed to be on the original project timeline.
About how far ahead of schedule are we, Nicholas? Would you say like a couple of months?
By months. I mean, some of these areas that we're turning up now probably weren't supposed to be scheduled till September.
Whoa.
So it's really, that they weren't going to be turned over for service. So I think we're, I have to go back, but I know we're way ahead. There was some troubles in some other areas, so contractors were over to Lancaster. We really have no issues. We've had a couple of construction issues, which always happens. But so far, Breeze Line has been, very
Responsive.
receptive and going out there and fixing the problems and dealing with them. So I don't think that any of them really have really filtered up with the exception of onesie twosies here and there to us, because Breeze Line has been dealing with them.
I don't know how many people remember with this VATI, the 4-county VATI, we're going to be numbers 3 or 4 to be started. They were starting in the larger counties, but for us to be considered, one of the last ones, because we were smaller than Middlesex and Matthews, and to be this far ahead, that's very good. That's very good.
Yeah, and I mean, the frustration, I think Breeze Line's feeling the frustration. They haven't looked at these areas, and they want to finish these out and get a customer signed up as soon as possible too. And they're waiting for for equipment, and they're going to other sources. They're buying in bulk tractor trailer loads, trying to get it faster, and it doesn't seem to be the vendors and manufacturers are everything's slipping.
Oh, well, that was expected, a few things that from other vendors, it's nationwide, but no, hats off to Breeze Line for keeping it moving. Okay, anything else? BTS?
Okay, so BTS, we're on the fixed wireless program, we're up to 240 installs on it, so which is pretty good. I mean, it was also a really horrible slow start, and they really kind of turned it up. And I haven't, and I don't think anybody else has received any complaints about the service. So I believe that the service has been pretty solid in the last 6 months. So that's going along rather well. Smart poles, I just spoke with BTS the other day, and we only have, according to BTS, there's only 2 smart poles that are not in service, and they have to get a crane to replace some equipment on them. That is at Thompson's Landing and Nutsville. So I usually Gary's away, but usually Gary goes out at least on a weekly basis and checks, make sure that they are actually in service. So, but like I said, the email I did receive from them today, or yesterday I should say, showed 6 of the 8 poles in service. They sent me some stats on, you know, some of the downloads and how many customers were on there. So it looks like it's, I mean, if those are correct, then it looks like they are actually in service.
That's good. That's your area, Craig? Is
What's
that your area?
Nutsville
And
and
Thomas.
Thomas Landing
Yeah.
both are.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, any other updates?
No, that's all, at least on the 3 vendors.
Okay. I know my note is with Michelle. There on the our website, we have that one map that shows where the projects are that Gary put together. And so I hope people know that they can go on the website and see them. And as Gary said, some of this will be impacted by not having the right information about some of these locations, which is not Breeze Line or anybody's fault. This is just the way it is. But they should go on and they can see where all these projects that we've got going, BTS, Breeze Line, APB. It shows exactly what areas, no specific addresses. What we hope to have, maybe in the not too distant future, is the ability to people to be able to go online, put in their address, and find out who's servicing them, and make sure they get signed up, which is something else that we've said at the monthly meetings with the Board of Supervisors, that people need to go look at our website and get the address to sign up if they want to talk to APB. No obligation. They're not required when they sign up to follow through. If they decide, no, I don't want this, fine. They don't have to put forth any money, and that's good. Okay. I have my notes someplace. Where did I put them? Probably left them home before I made. Oh, here it is. Okay, what else do we have? That's the coverage. We also need to find a presenter, for a volunteer presenter for the 28th meeting with the illustrious Board of Supervisors.
I cannot do it. I'm going to be somewhere sailing around the Chesapeake Bay.
Don't even go there. I can do it. I'll be here.
She was getting ready, I thought she was getting ready to look at you.
Well, that's his sidebar look, so,
Oh, okay.
I can come support you.
oh, come support me.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you. I
I can
appreciate
field
that.
questions.
All right, I'm just putting down here, I will meet the illustrious board on the 28th.
We look forward to that, Cassie.
You're so
thought that was-
kind, and do you not come up with a lot of questions?
Look, I thought that was his job.
No, we have to do it. We can't convince these board members to step down to our level and do the presenting. to the
Hey,
others.
they're good guys.
Okay, that is, let's see, I told about the
Coverage update.
those are the major things. And that website, which I apologize, I haven't gotten to. I'm going to do a news article based on APB's presentation at the 9 June meeting. However, due to some personal issues, I haven't been able to get at it. So I hope to get it done in the next week if my 3 granddaughters, which are showing up again in a few days, will allow me some time. So,
I went on the website and put my farm address because I don't have internet there right now. And it said that I was gonna be serviced and they would be contacting me back, but I haven't heard anything. So I went
Okay.
and did that
that's good.
a month ago, probably.
Oh. You know, that's a question, Nicholas. When somebody signs up, Craig was just saying, he signed up for his
Yeah.
home in that area. And it's about a month ago. Does APB plan on responding to say, thank you very much, Did they send you an automatic receipt, anything?
No, I don't recall getting it, other than a reply on the screen that said you're signed up and we'll be
Okay,
back
that's
in
it.
touch.
Oh,
At
okay,
when you finish the process, that's what I remember.
Okay.
But the farm's only located about quarter to half a mile down Mary Point Road from the high school. So I
Okay.
figured I might hear something soon. I don't,
Yeah.
you know, with them working all in the Lancaster areas, but I haven't heard anything yet.
okay, I just wanted to make sure they had something that you know you
Yeah,
are signed
yeah,
up.
it was just
That's
at the
good.
end of it, it's like a screen that says you're now signed up and we'll be back in touch, more or less, is what I
Hey,
remember.
Kathy,
Good, yes.
I'm here, but I'm locked out.
Oh, Kevin is on his way. All
Thank you.
right, bye.
Bye.
I mean, Cassie, it's in their interest to, once they get that area built out, to reach out to every, person who signs up and get them hooked up as soon as possible.
Yeah,
So,
Yeah, no,
but
that-
I think they're gonna be reluctant to put out a date when,
Yeah.
especially today,
Oh, yeah.
in these times when, procurement for everything is, difficult, and with broadband, it's much worse because of the unprecedented amounts of federal funding
everybody's
you know,
going after the
being given
funding.
now, so it's really being built out all across the country, so you got just general procurement issues, and then, supply issues on top of that.
No, that's understandable. I assume they'll probably do like Breezeline puts out door hangers, so people will probably
Yeah.
see as it goes along when they're gonna be in your specific
Yeah.
area to start work. You'll probably get a door hanger.
Yeah,
That's good.
Or a mailbox hanger.
Or mailbox hanger. Yes,
Yeah.
thank you. Okay.
Hey,
Hi, Michelle.
hey, I had a couple comments, but I didn't think you could hear me very well. So I was kind of saving them until I got here, if that's okay?
Sure.
Good call.
One question, Nicholas, is I had a couple, I was asking Gary about like, could we sign like a non-disclosure agreement or something with APB, separate ones, and Breezeline to get more specific information about where they're planning to go, but they're not required to go under the VATI grants, right, or under RDOF. And because it seems to me that like everybody, as everyone here, I'm sure is experiencing, and the Board of Supervisors is definitely experiencing, everybody wants to know when they're gonna get it. And they wanna know now, and they're really, I mean, it's getting like, people are getting upset. And you talked about the gentleman that was here at the last meeting. He had actually called me, somebody had referred him to me. And yeah, I went out and I drove by what he was talking about at his house, you know, at the last meeting, he showed the pictures and so forth. And they really do, they're like at his doorstep.
Right,
practically.
and
I mean,
yeah,
really
yeah.
are at his doorstep. And they got like the loop of the extra cable right there. And it seems like a no-brainer that they're gonna be there. And this is, I think, and I've talked to him since because guess what? I got Starlink. Starlink opened up in our area and it works fabulous. It works great. So the people who signed up early, but I signed up like 2 years ago when it very first, you know, they opened up for signing up. And Frederic, this gentleman, I can't remember his last name, but he signed up too. So he's going to get Starlink. So APB, excuse me, Breezeline, is missing an opportunity because I would think if they had told Frederic, oh, you know, we'll be there in a month or something like that, he might have paused and decided, oh, you know what, I think I'll wait an extra month before spending all that money on Starlink, because Starlink is not inexpensive, like their unit and so forth. And, you know, it's still satellite, it's not the cable. So, like, I think Breezeline could be, and APB, if they're going to be coming anytime soon, could be losing customers to Starlink. That would be like the business motivation for them sharing information.
Starlink's already working on this end of the county.
Starlink is.
Yeah.
It's working on my,
Yeah.
in Whitestone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And I mean, it works
Is it
great.
a one-year contract when you sign up?
You know, my husband did it, and
she's like,
I don't remember what it is.
but I find it strange that APB and Breezeline both seem to be holding their cards close to their vest and don't want to put out anything, and I'm like, why? because the people, I get tons of calls about broadband too, and people are hungering for it, and they just want to know if they know, and it's a reasonable time, they'll wait. If it isn't reasonable, they're going to do something else.
Right.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that I think that they're putting us in a bad situation in that we kind of have our hands tied. We can't really plan. We kind of think they're gonna do it, but we don't know they're gonna do it. So, okay, well, maybe we could get the VATI grant, but you know what? If it was just, if we could figure out, like, oh, really, they are gonna cover, you know, Gary's been talking about 84 homes that are kind of falling through the cracks, for lack of a better word. So what if they cover most of them, and it's really 20 homes? Well, then maybe we could go to DuPont and get a grant like now that wouldn't have all the strings, you know what I mean, like the time frame of getting the government money, and we could, bam, knock it out now, and rather than wait, because like the presentation the APB guy did was, well, we can go back and see, you know, who it is, but like after this whole cycle is up, then we can look and we can apply for another grant, VATI grant, and so it's not gonna, they're not gonna get it by 2023 like everybody else, but we're gonna work on it. Well, how are those people gonna feel? They're gonna feel really left out. And what if there are school children there, you know what I mean, who need to go to school remotely, or elderly people, because all of this remote medicine is becoming more and more and more popular, you know? So I think they're putting us in a really bad spot and not allowing us to have that information that we could now go and plan and try to go get money somewhere now rather than waiting for the next VATI grant or what have you.
We need to know.
They are actually putting us in a good spot by not promising something they can't deliver. There is one area, I think it's Cherry Road or whatever, Cherry. It's held, they can turn it over to ops, they need one pedestal to finish the job.
I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time hearing you.
Yep. Say that again, Nicholas?
There's one area that they want to turn over to ops for testing. They need one pedestal, they can't get it.
Oh, I see what you're saying now.
So a whole street or whatever, I don't know how many customers are on there, is being held because of one pedestal, and they don't know when they're going to get it.
They don't know.
This stuff has been ordered since December. Then another vendor, and I mean, I don't think he's going to make it up. They said if you buy two tractor trail loads of these things, we could expedite, delivery. They were 2 tractor trailer loads of pedestals, and it's supposed to be delivered 4 weeks ago. And it's still not being delivered.
So this would be
They're
for-
sourcing multiple vendors.
He's saying they're not willing to
doing whatever
commit
they
to
can.
anything because of the simple fact they can't get supplies.
Okay, well, that's understandable, but I think they could still tell us. And like I said, we could have a closed meeting.
They don't know.
Yeah, they can't tell you what they don't know.
They have no idea.
Well, I mean, I have no idea, if your vendor selling product A and you're just not shipping it out, I have no clue when you're gonna ship. I have no clue when it's gonna be
What
available.
would be wrong with them saying that, though, that
I
we're
have
waiting
no-
on
I agree with that,
supplies,
too,
or,
but they-
you know, I think the more information you give the
Exactly.
public, the less all of us.
So
don't have to
I'm just gonna tell you, from their eyes, they told Nick, what more are they supposed to do?
So I think we take the next step.
We're
and
the
tell
ones to take
public
next
now.
step and tell the public, look, they're having supply chain problems.
But
But
that, they're not saying that with respect to the VATI grant, right? You're talking
he
about,
literally just said they can't get a pedestal.
oh, you're talking about
Yeah, that's.
the
Yes.
VATI grant?
Yes.
Okay, I get that as far as the timing goes, and they're having supply, but what I'm talking about are these 84 homes that they won't say whether they're planning on going there or not, right? So we have about 84 residences that are falling through the cracks. And so I understand what you're saying about they can't say time-wise when they're gonna do something because of the supply chain issues. But I think they could tell us if they are planning, when they do have the supplies, hey, this is where we're planning on serving. We're gonna go to this area, and these XXX residences. But we're not gonna hit this guy because he's way out there, so we're not gonna do it. It doesn't work with our business plan. But this is what works with our business plan. I don't see why they can't tell us that. And I know there's this whole strategy of going into the green fields and you get, more apt to get clients if you're the first one there. But I don't see why we are.
Because I don't think they can accurately tell us that, Michelle.
Pardon me?
I don't think they can tell us that, give us that information with any accuracy.
Why?
Because to build that in the other areas, to get it, if it's in their capital budget for the future, it's probably not in there because they're overwhelmed with construction now in the valley, which is their priority. So even in their 3-year outlook,
Okay.
they probably have it in there, but there's no real.
I'm talking about the houses that you and Kevin and Gary are all thinking that, they'll probably go there. It makes sense because like this Miss Frederique's, I wish I knew his last name, I apologize. I do know it, I could look it up. But okay, you tell me, they've got that, they're right in his neighborhood.
Well, see,
You tell me
he
they don't have a
mentioned
plan for going
earlier-
there.
You mentioned earlier, there's some pole issues with Dominion that they're not letting people attach.
Okay,
So that's why I asked specifically, is that area one of those affected by that?
I
See,
couldn't hear that.
Yeah, so I think some of that stuff's in play too, because Nick brought it up earlier. But I
Okay.
agree with you. We should take and identify all 84 of those houses, go to whoever's going to potentially serve them, who's the closest to
Yeah.
them, say how much would it cost to get there, get all that from them, and then go see DuPont and say, hey, we need this to make up those 84
Well, I already
houses.
had that conversation, and Gary and I agreed, until we get the answer on the cost.
Right.
We can't even go to DuPont, and we're,
But have we asked for that answer?
well,
Yeah.
we sort of asked, but we're gonna,
The addresses have been identified and provided to both providers, the Lincoln, Breeze Line and, APB. It's also we also wrote letters of intent to participate in the next round of batting grants, to make sure they're covered. And they are covered under the RDOF by Starry. It uses a fixed wireless program, but in theory, everybody should be covered.
that's now, have APB and Breeze Line, I'm trying to remember, I assume APB is, applying for the Batty grant this year. They keep
And
applying.
so is Breeze Line.
Yes, now if they get those grants, have they showed us which areas, if they want us to
It's
participate?
going to be whatever is left unserved,
Right.
which isn't much in Lancaster County.
Okay,
And
so,
that's because they're fixed wireless. And the other thing they have to be careful of is because when they submitted addresses, which are going to be covered under the Batty grant, that's the address that they have to cover. They can't use grant funds to build areas that weren't
Don't
approved
exist, yeah.
I understand that.
by, by the funding. So it's kind of and they're ahead of schedule right now. So under the Batty grant, we're ahead of schedule. There are those 84, which, Gary especially, and I have also been burglared in making sure that they don't fall apart and get
you've
to it.
done a good job on that,
I'm glad you hear what he's saying.
every few sentences.
I'm having a hard time hearing it.
I know, it's not as
Everything
sharp
you're
as
saying,
usual.
Nicholas,
Um,
sorry.
One quick question, as both Breeze Line and APB apply this year for the next VATI, which would be next year, that it would, come out, have they asked us for any addresses, or do they already have
have
those addresses?
They have them.
Okay,
Yeah. They have they got the
Just wanna
whole
make
king
sure
caboodle
they
that makes
never
this
change.
county.
all right.
Do they have the new construction?
Just gonna ask that. If a house is not yet built, I buy this lot, I buy these 3 acres over here, and it's in an area that they're gonna look at next year. Are they saying, we'll take these 69 houses that are not served in this area, and those are the addresses they've given? Now, what about houses number 70, 71, 72, which aren't built yet? Are they of the mindset, if they're in that area next year, 18 months from now, and my house is built, I'd automatically, since I'm sort of down the road, would they have to get another grant? Or are they gonna say, we'll go down that extra half mile to connect me?
I mean, they both indicated that they're going to try to extend as far as possible. And in fact, I mentioned earlier, the gentleman who I received the email from, who was frustrated with not getting service. It's actually not part of the Valley grant.
Yeah,
It's Breeze Line building down a roadway on their own. That's actually part of the RDOF grant. So,
yes, yeah.
so
I'm
the,
glad-
the
I'm glad
gentleman
you're
is
doing that.
actually, who was, frustrated. I tried to explain to him that it's actually, in one way, he's going to get service sooner than if it was the RDOF one or APB who's going to build out there. They're going to be much later. I said, and at the end of the day, he'll be able to have choice between both of them, which most people in the U.S. don't have choice. You're stuck with one provider, and that's about it. So, they are, they are extending their network, even that, during Valley with other areas. If they go and pass through there, or it has to be a high cluster area of high density homes.
Because one of the things I wanted to do was go to the real estate offices, if we can figure out, this is Breeze Line, and going on Michelle's idea too, how far they're going, et cetera. We can give them information when Mr. and Mrs. Jones come in and they want to buy a house or build a house. They can say, but from what we see, there is no broadband there. One, they get the website that they can ask, which we'll hopefully have ours, where we can say at least between 296 and 298, there's nothing, but there will be something or whatever. But we've got to get information out so people who want to live here will know it's coming and get an idea. It's in next year, this year. We know at APB it'll be next year, at least for those homes that have been identified, because they have to do it by December 2023. But it'd be nice if people knew more about what Breeze Line may be planning. Maybe that'll be in the next Batty. They get that out.
The project plan submitted by Breeze Line to the state is they'll be complete by January 2023.
Which is less than 5 months.
All right, so that's when they'll know if they've won.
And that's the completion date. And
Oh, for
that's,
this, yeah.
now there could be delays from, if we can't get materials and
I think we need to get that out.
force majeure issues.
16?
I don't think that's going to affect us because we got an early jump, they early jump on a lot
This
of
is
things.
2022.
But that is the date that they were
It's
obligated
the
to meet.
7th month.
All right,
Yeah,
January.
This was an 18-month grant, an 18-month project. So
No,
I think we
January
need to
of
get something out, and I'll
I
talk to
thought you
Crystal, or
said
you can talk to
December.
Crystal. They can put something
I took
out,
it
or we can
December.
put it out, that reminding them it was an 18-month grant, due for completion the end of January 2023. However, as vendor delays, et cetera, they're ahead of schedule, but these things are coming. They're seeing some delays. So, and as everybody understands, but get that point out there. I think people don't know when they're supposed to have it. And if there were no
No.
delays, they'd be.
No, Cassie, you're right. They don't know when they're supposed to have it. And what's really made it worse was that because Breeze Line was out there doing as much construction as they possibly could, there's a lot of stuff hanging in the air or coming out of the ground that looks like people, it must seem to people like they walked away from it.
Yeah,
And haven't.
but that's a vendor
They
issue
just try,
too.
whatever materials they have, whatever labor force they have, they try to get it done as much as soon as possible. That's what the gentleman that emailed me. His frustration was he could see it. It looks like it's done, but how come we can't get service?
What's the January 2023 date you just referenced? I thought everything was December 2023.
No, it's 18 months, it'll be January
January
23,
2023.
yeah, it's about 6 months.
That's the
5
Breeze Line.
Breeze
Oh,
Line.
Breeze
that's-
Line.
APB
Okay.
is
It's
APB is
December
December.
2023.
Okay. That's what I was confused
Yeah, there's
on.
11-month difference between the
Okay,
two.
that's what
Now-
I was thinking, Jeff.
In Breeze Line's project timeline that's filed with DHCD, their commercial readiness, which means it's ready for service, is completion for the whole project is 12/30/2022. So, I guess technically, with the 18 months, they have to the end of January of 2023 to be completely done.
And that's what we
But,
should tell people. We should tell people.
They're trying to get this done as soon as, that's why we're seeing the 3 areas we spoke about that are ready for service now. There should be another 4 ready for service next week. And when I go over the project plan with Bernie, the construction project manager, everything is, there's a lot of green on the project plan sheet, with the exception of being held that we get pedestals. So it's still green because it's ahead, it's not behind schedule. But there's, it's really a pedestal issue or a licensing issue to me.
I think what you just said we should get out, that as of, say, the end of this month, these areas will be ready for service at another month or whatever, 6 weeks or next week. I wouldn't want to give them too tight.
But I'm hesitant, and I know they're hesitant, because they don't know if they're going to get the materials to get it ready.
Yeah, I mean, for the ones that you think should be turned on.
Yeah, the 4 next week should be done, and,
That's the one I'm
hopefully-
talking about.
Hopefully, they should be ready, completely spliced and turned over to ops for testing this week.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm talking about.
Tomorrow.
These
But
that-
that's, we're saying the end of next week, so that should be, those 4 should be turned over. So we should have 7 of the 20 areas that are ready for,
See, that's what I think we should tell people.
Yeah.
And don't say next week, we'll say within the month.
Hold up. You said there are 3 areas already that are already passed over to retail sale, right?
yes.
So why don't we just,
Field, Boston, and Beach Road.
so definitely put all those out, like right now. We could throw that on our website. I mean, that's instantly, they're ready for service now. Because if they're in sales, they're
Yeah,
good.
if sales is going, I mean, they may be talking in their neighborhood that they've spoken to Breeze Line and blah, blah. But
I
the
mean,
county
at
needs to
least
know.
the rest of the county says, oh, well, some are coming on, so we're not
Exactly.
gonna be far behind.
Exactly.
You at least send that message that some are
They'll
there
calm
and we're
things
working
down.
on it,
They'll
yes.
calm- And then the other
I think-
question, what I was saying, Nicholas, if those that they may turn over in the next week or 2 weeks, I wouldn't put out there the next week, because when something happens and they don't get it on next Thursday, but I say within the next month, these areas, talk to Bernie and see how comfortable he'd be
I
with
will.
a big.
My
month.
concern isn't that the people in the 3 areas are to be informed, but they will be by Breeze Line. My concern is that the rest of the county realizes that something's happened,
Yes.
Yep, that's
that
the
those
thing.
3 areas are now, so it's really, those 3 areas, they're gonna, Breeze Line is gonna, it's being turned over to marketing now and sales. Those people are gonna be contacted to get signed up. But we really want that message to go to the rest of the county that something is happening.
Oh, this, I'm talking about putting it in the newspaper in addition to our website, so people see it and know it is happening.
Yeah.
And in other things, this is sort of a little thing to APB, excuse us, do you see what's happening here? And people are happy?
Yeah.
And maybe APB will move a little faster. I mean, within reason, if they can't get materials, I understand.
They say they have all their materials stockpiled.
That's what I heard the
Oh,
other
yeah,
day too.
they're so good, so we can talk to them and see.
But I don't think APV wasn't the one that was having material issues. That's just Breeze Line, right?
The whole, I don't care who you
The
are,
industry.
everybody is having material issues.
That's what happens when the government dumps money and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Then there's, if you order something, the pricing is changing on a daily basis. If you ordered it and you have a PO, they're not honoring the price on the PO.
You're kidding.
No, it's unprecedented. I've only seen this once before with fiber, not with the other product, with fiber. And it's just, it's crazy out there. And they're giving quotes, they're issuing POs with no guarantee of price when it gets delivered.
That's strange, but wasn't one of APB's big selling points on their RADI grant, for lack of a better, choice of words?
Yeah.
Was, because this is what's
That
the guy
stuff
name
stockpiled.
from
Actually,
APB, when he did
that-
his presentation, he said
Ines.
that they have their supplies in Stafford County or something, like they have a warehouse somewhere that they have, at least their
And-
fiber is
Michelle,
already purchased
I-
in a warehouse somewhere.
I
That's what
don't think
said.
he was misleading us, but there's certain supplies that you don't consider as, they're supplies, but they're like bolts, anchors, they're stamped out of metal, they're like, they're a commodity. And they're being back order, or you can't get them. It's unbelievable.
No,
simplest
I'm
thing.
very
that I
familiar
have.
with it. I have a house under construction, or or whatever the word is. Anyhow, I'm very familiar with the supply chain issues and the prices going way up and people not honoring prices. And you know what else they're doing is they're putting into production items that were ordered recently, like now that they have the supplies, because they're jacked up the prices on those. This is what some of the manufacturers are doing. So they're delaying people who ordered long ago and far away, and they're putting ahead
Yeah.
the orders of the more recent orders
With
because
the higher price.
with the higher price. Yeah, so,
Yep.
Gas has been sold like that every day in this country for God knows how long.
Yeah,
yeah, that's interesting.
okay, you talk to Bernie and see what he will allow, like a window, you know, for the ones a little.
I'll see.
further out. See, and I'll talk to Crystal, I want to go back and talk to her about,
What I'll do, Patsy, when I talk to Bernie, he's not gonna give me a decision. He's gonna reach out to Crystal and Bill Newberg, so I'll go through him.
okay, then I'll put off
Yeah, this way
contacting
we can-
Crystal.
We don't want, we wanna manage expectations. We don't wanna, we wanna
Exactly.
make sure that,
What would make them
you know,
comfortable?
But would you say we're safe to go ahead and put those 3 up on the website at least?
yes, oh, yeah.
So let's make sure that gets done,
Yeah,
like in a news section.
And what I could do is, I'll send Bernie an email. He thinks the 4 I mentioned to you earlier, that should be done by next week. He thinks they're gonna be done by tomorrow.
Or
What?
you keep
You know,
that
next week
to
was,
yourself.
so he's pretty confident it's gonna be done. I'll reach out, I'll ask him to let me know as soon as they're done, so we can put them on, we can post them all.
it'd be nice if every 2 weeks we can say, these 2 areas are now going live, you know, and maybe 3 weeks later, another one, or whatever.
In all honesty, I think we're gonna be able to see in the next few weeks, you know, after these next 4 next week, we could be able to see the next couple of weeks, another couple of areas, 2 or 3 areas. Because there is a lot, like I said, that, Lancaster, got an early jump on a lot of construction. We're way ahead of the other 4 counties, as far as being able to turn customers up, which is good.
Yeah,
So we'll see. Hopefully they'll get the supplies and, you know, they don't want to leave the stuff hanging. They just want to get it done as fast as possible also.
Kevin, you want to put those up on the website?
I don't even know if I have access to that anymore, but I can.
Yeah,
I can try.
you have access to our website.
Are you sure about that? Do you want
You're
to
the
pass-
techie guy.
We pass it off to somebody though. I'll try.
All righty, oh, I thought you still had the access though.
I don't know if I do.
All right, if you don't, we'd have to wait. When is Cherie coming back?
I can shoot her email. She's having somebody else do that anyway, right? Like her nephew or something?
I thought that,
Gotta look at
the
that.
gentleman from Eagles Landing was helping with that.
I think he was
Yes.
forming the website, doing things. We'll send it, I can't remember if her note said she's out of email range.
You
I'll
know
look at
what,
her note
I
again.
think if you send what needs to be posted to Cherie, she's gonna pop it to whoever's doing it. I don't think she herself is.
Self, right.
No,
that's
I'm
what I
just
was
trying to
thinking.
remember if she
So-
said in her note she'll never be so
Yeah.
close where she can't get an email. But I agree with that. I just
She'll
wanna
do
send
it.
to
I
you.
will try tomorrow to log in to see if I can get into it.
Okay, if you can't, we'll send her the, would you, Nicholas, send us an email specifically with the ones we should put on the website so we get it correct?
Yeah.
All right, and then if Cherie can get it or have somebody do it if you can't.
Sounds good.
Okay, Okay, that'll be great. And just say, stay tuned for
Can y'all get me on
updates.
that email too? I'd like to know in case anybody asks me at the board.
Yeah, Craig should be on a lot of these emails, not just little things, but anything with notification, you should be on. Even the board may ask you, well, how are things going, and so forth.
Yeah, and if I know certain areas are on, that would be good for them to know, because they get the same questions.
Yeah, because
too.
it's their area.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. no,
This is Jason's area we're talking about, right?
No, this is Craig's area we're talking about.
The 3 that were just turned on?
That being turned on, that's, oh, no, yours was the Nutsville, so.
Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
no,
that
no,
was the smart poles. we
His
was
is
talking
broke,
about.
Right.
his is a broke area.
I can't remember.
We're no
exactly.
service.
Which
Jason.
Whitestone, those 3 addresses I think are all Whitestone area,
Then that'd be Jason.
right?
Yeah,
Beach
probably
Road.
Jason.
Yeah, that's probably Jason.
That's
Yeah.
what I was
So tell him for the right price. We'll
No,
keep
that's
moving.
not how we work.
Yeah, but this will be a good way for the board to see progress, and they can answer, you're right, they can answer their
Yeah,
constituents.
that way I can tell them the next meeting if we've got 4, 5, or 6 on. They'll, I think anybody seeing the progress, it's gonna be, okay, this is gonna happen. Because they've heard about it for a long time, but I think they're skeptical until they see something.
And hear that these 17 homes and these 29 over here,
Yeah.
until they see it, yeah,
Yeah.
you're
That's
absolutely
just my
right.
thoughts, I mean.
No, I think you're right.
But,
Okay, we'll leave it to you to talk to Bernie, Nicholas, and
Okay.
you send us those 3 or 4 areas that are being turned on now. We'll get that out, and what Bernie, find some sort of arrangement that he can keep us up, if there's even a way to say, a month from now, these areas, even though they may be 2 weeks. I just want to keep things moving.
Yeah, I get it.
But what he feels comfortable with, we're not going to push him to get ahead of himself.
Michelle,
Michelle?
do you have other questions?
Well, on the Dominion pole attachment, do we know why Dominion's not giving those?
Dominion actually told them because school is out and everybody's going on vacation, which I find hard to believe.
Like they don't have time to look at it, or?
Or no, are you talking about the people that actually look at the pole attachments are on vacation?
Yeah, Dominion themselves.
They're
Now, they
employees.
are, the one thing I keep asking every week is, are they meeting their contractual agreement? And they are. They have, I think it's 60 days to process the application and 120 days to do the make-ready work. So it's a pretty long time frame. So they haven't,
That's-
they haven't missed those dates, but it's still taking a long time to get the poll to the licensing.
Okay, so it's not that Dominion's refusing, it's just
No.
taking forever, okay.
The only times where they refused the license was once it's in those areas where it's supposed to go underground.
Okay,
Okay.
that makes sense.
So we have some, that confuses me too. Is there some, we don't have dig once legislation here, right? In this county? No.
if what?
Well, it'd be a statewide thing.
Statewide.
No, these are areas that have been identified by the SCC, I believe. They were high outage areas, and they were targeted to be put underground.
Gotcha.
I think it's called the SUP program, the Service Utility Service Underground Program.
Yeah, Dominion has a program where in these high outage areas where it's going through a lot of trees, basically, that they're,
They've just done
Putting
that
them
on a
underground.
couple of off-roads down Mary Point,
Yeah.
probably a couple miles maybe,
Yeah.
where they've put all the electric underground. Because
Yeah.
they were in some of the fields I was farming, they've taken the lines down and moved the poles, it's all underground now.
Yeah, I
So
live
I've
in
seen
Laurel Point, and we're all woods
Yeah.
all around. And year before last, they came and met with all of us individually, and we had a pole about 50, 60, 70 feet behind the house. And they took it down, the whole everything's underground in
Right.
Laurel Point. Yeah, because there's so many trees. They said,
Yeah.
this is cheaper for us to maintain.
Oh, yeah.
They had to come out one day, about 4 of us lost power. A squirrel got fried. So that squirrel sacrificed himself so we could have underground.
So the groundhogs can do it.
I had that at my house one day. We lost power and I walked out and I looked at the transmitter and there was a squirrel's tail hanging over the transmitter. He had gotten fried.
Yep, and there are a lot of them out.
I got a better story. A substation, years ago when I worked in upstate New York, a substation caught on fire because a bird was carrying a fish from the nearby lake, flying over the substation.
And
Don't
drop
tell me
The
it.
fish was so big, it dropped the fish and landed right in the substation and shorted it out.
Fried fish.
You talk about a fish fry.
You know why they use fish oil as a rust inhibitor, right?
No, why?
You ain't never seen a fish rust.
Oh, God. Okay. We'll let you go talk to Bernie about future things, and we'll work on getting whatever you send us up on the
Will do.
website. All right, Michelle, you want to do the minutes?
Yes, I submitted the minutes to everyone by email, and the only comment we had was from Gary on the, who made the motions to adjourn the meeting, because I couldn't hear that one part, and it was you and Gary, so I made that change. I made it right before this meeting, so that's the only change that was made
I saw
from
your
the draft. So I would like to submit the June 9th, 2022 meeting minutes, which I have a printed copy of, for approval. I'll
You're
make a
not gonna give
motion
me
to do
credit for
that.
my change? The dates were wrong.
The
They're
date,
right, they're right.
I changed that
You
too.
changed it.
Yeah, I changed that earlier,
Okay.
a long time ago. I changed that like immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so
Okay.
I'll make a motion for approval of the minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any other business? Because I'm doing the 28th, 28th.
We're doing the 28th.
I'm doing the 28th.
We're-
Oh, we are doing the 28th.
we're doing the
We
28th.
stand up at the podium
We can if
together.
you'd like, if you need that more support, I got you.
We'll divide it up and see which part you want to talk about.
All right, sounds good.
I'm looking forward to this.
I don't know if I am, but you will see. Any other business comments? Craig, you have other questions or something?
I don't think so right now. I'm happy to hear that it's moving along
And we're going to get that out.
and we're gonna start to see some, hopefully it'll mushroom on, you know, once it starts, it'll take on quicker, cause, yeah, there's a lot of people. And I think, like that guy that was here last month, the people moving here have, you know, they need it for work and those things, where longtime residents have figured other ways around it right now.
Right.
But the people that have moved in recently, I think this is crucial for them.
Yeah, oh, I do,
So-
because they'll go and call their friends and say,
Oh, yeah.
it's good down here.
Well, and actually, because we moved here 6 years ago and work remotely from home and, you know, travel when we need to, but it was a lot better when we first got here
Really?
because now, once COVID hit and you had
Everybody.
more people on it, it
It's
slowed down a lot, yeah.
It's garden hose.
So it was the satellite, because we have the Viasat, the Northern Net satellite, and
Yeah.
the Verizon, well, MiFi's, right? And we kind of go between two.
And all those are
they've
the-
gotten, both have gotten a lot
Slow.
slower.
On the weekends, like your Verizon stuff, that goes to a crawl.
Yes.
It's like,
Yeah,
but
I-
I mean, that's our influx of people.
Yeah.
I was on satellite at one point, and that was 15 years ago, and that was really slow. But fortunately, we got Breeze Line in our development, and that's been, for me, that's been a godsend where we live, but that's been good
Yeah.
service. I heard a few people say their Breeze Line isn't good, and I'm like, I can't relate to that, because theirs has been really good.
The biggest
good.
problem I've run across, and this is me personally and people I know and work with, if you use the standard breeze line equipment,
Uh-huh,
Yeah.
it's not.
not so hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's the first thing I did. I went, cable modems were cheap. People don't realize it. They're like $80, but you're paying like $7 a month for God knows how many years you done. But like their cable modems are programmed to only grab so many channels. Or if I get a cable modem that's got 16 channels on it, my cable modem will grab every
Grab
channel it
them
can
all.
get.
That's it.
So,
After my husband died, the modem went out, and he was the computer guy,
I got
not
you.
me. So a woman from Breeze Line walked me through how to tell me what I needed to go, went to Walmart, got a modem, and she walked me through hooking it up. Then a few months ago, everything was practically stopped. It did stop. I needed a new router. And so, thank you, Mr. Executive Director. I called Nicholas and said, okay, I need a router. And of course, Breeze Light trying to sell me one. And I said, Nicholas, what do I get? And he sent me an email, and it covers my entire house. I have 3 round things, one in the den, one in the living room, and one upstairs. So every part of the house
You
is covered.
techie.
he set you up a mesh. He's like,
It's
"Here,
a
this
mesh, it is a mesh, TP
It's
link
a mesh now,
mesh.
yeah, it's TP link.
Yeah, TP link. I got it.
Nice.
So phone, anything, any place in the house, you should be able to hook up.
That's great.
So, I's working.
Well,
I's working.
the Starlink, I have to sing Elon Musk's praises because he's one of my favorite people at this point. I was able to cancel Dish TV because I can do YouTube TV now.
Ah,
And my children are very, not, I mean, I have adult children, you know,
Yeah.
late 20s. They're like, oh my gosh, you've entered.
They're like, Mom, we're coming to hang out more.
Like, well, no, it's like, because they're like, because nobody watches normal TV anymore. And so they were like, oh, you've come into the modern world.
One of our school board members lives just past the high school, about 2 roads down. And she was bragging about it when it came online. And she goes, but you know what's really sad? I was like, what? Her neighbor